All right, so another wonderful day here with Miss Lynn Schmaltz, my good friend here at this point, because Lynn, we spent a lot of time together talking about plasma energy water, and I just love it so much. And you know that I put another order in. Actually, I did get my last order last week, because I forgot to put my unit number on there. I did autofill and whatever, but I got my pendant. Actually gave this to a good friend who was having some issues with her energy, and she was just, a lot of work stuff was going on that was negative, and she was super happy. And I got her a couple vials of the plasma energy water, but then I also did get the parasite removal. And the other thing that I did actually is, we were talking about Masaru Emoto, and we were talking about how you can change the molecular structure of water. And you would basically, you have the book and you talked about that. And so in the future, that's going to be some subject matter that I'm going to go into, because I think that water and parasites and things like that, water obviously is a super important topic for us to discuss. And it's actually way more complicated and much more intricate than I ever thought, quite honestly. And you would share those pictures with me on how the thought process can change the molecular structure of water. And I actually really saw that. I'm going to post some pictures later, and we'll do something that maybe down the road. But positive thoughts create a water molecule that looks like a snowflake, and negative thoughts create a thing of water that looks like toxic material that you absolutely would not want in your body. But
can I interject there? Because that's
yes,
a really, really important thought.
It is.
Thank you for having me on today. When we're drinking the plasma water, our bodies are 70% water. And when we fill ourselves with intention, we can set what's going on around us. And so just what you said is, if we're full of negativity, our water has memory, our water carries intention. Is that what you want in your water? So it's something to be very mindful about. And just, you know, if you get up and set a daily intention or whatever, because we're being assaulted, I would say, with a lot of negativity, it's chipping away at our positive intention.
Right. Yes. And thank you for bringing that up and talking about that. But basically it goes exactly what you're saying. I mean, we're basically in a crazy spiritual war right now on this planet. In the world of 2022, it is incredibly crazy. But ultimately it comes down to frequency. And there's one side that wants to keep you basically in a very low frequency, which is sort of negative fear, anxiety, stress, anger. They want to keep you in that. And so their intention is to put out propaganda that's going to maintain keeping you in a fear-based reality. And so obviously if you know the enemy better than you know yourself, which would be Sun Tzu, then you know exactly what they're trying to do. And then you can kind of look at what's going on and separate yourself out of that. And it's an important time right now where you really can sort of diagnose what is the media that's coming at you, and what is the intention of that, and is it a fear-based reality that they're trying to put you in. But because we are talking about water, and we are talking about the plasma energy water, the goal ultimately is to get the best possible outcome. So when you're drinking your plasma energy water, think about love, think about heal, think about everything that's good, and maintain that, because it's not just the water you're drinking, it's also the water that's part of your bodily composition, which goes to exactly what you were just saying. Is there anything else you want to talk about or throw back in that?
What I'll throw back in is, if you look at our biofield, okay, those that want to throw us into the little woo camp will say, oh, chakras, biofield, that's all out there, woo woo, but actually it's part of our body system.
Mhm.
And so when you are drinking the plasma energy water, you can effectively set up a dome of the plastic energy around you. That dome is going to carry your intention.
Mhm.
So it's really important to realize that, because you can more or less have an invisible shield, so to
Mhm.
speak. And we saw the greater dome effect with the recent Red Lodge flood, where everything around me was getting flooded. There was a vacant lot next to where I live. It should have come straight for where I am, and several properties that had basements, and nothing happened.
Mhm.
And the owner of the property was here several days ago, and so I took him out and I said, now look across here, look at that field, it's flat. It's actually below the road level where all the water was flowing down, and it took out part of the road.
Mhm.
That's the dome effect. That's the protective effect that we can have with setting our intention around our bodies and our spaces,
Mhm.
our dwellings or workspaces, whatever.
Right. Yeah. And so, this all plays into, integrating these technologies like the plasma energy water into our daily routine. So, like being conscious of your thoughts and being conscious of your energy and being conscious of all these different things definitely is going to assist with getting the best possible outcome, ultimately maintaining good health and all the benefits like you're talking about with the plasma energy water for creating these sort of protective domes and shields, not just around our bodies and our auras, but also in the case with that flooding, which was another really good documentation on exactly what happened when you had that plasma energy field set up there. Is another really good example of how powerful that plasma energy is in the plasma energy water.
Well, and actually what really made my day one day, about a week later, is one of the delivery guys that I see every now and then stop by my house, and I asked him how he'd come out with the flood, and he said he lives out of town, but he said, oh, my rent house did fine. And I didn't know he had a rent house. And I said, oh, well, where's that? And he said, it's a block away. And it was on a street that was flooding. The alley was flooding. And I said, well, what happened? And he said, 3 houses around my rent house got flooded, and nothing happened with the rent house. I said, well, why do you think that was? And he said, oh, I gave him some of your plasma water some time ago. I said, well, thank you. That makes my day, because you came to tell me that. It wasn't my story of saying, well, listen, everybody,
Yeah. And he was smart enough to know that he had it in there and that was possibly a big contributing factor as to why he didn't get flooded out at that place.
Exactly. And one of the guys who lives here on this property was gone. He works disaster relief all over the country. And so he called and had people empty out his apartment, because it's not a garden level, but it was a step down from the driveway. And so he said, the guy behind us is flooding. I knew I was going to be flooded. And so when he came back, I was talking to him, and I said, well, what do you think happened? And he said, I worked disaster relief. I knew this was going to be flooded. Your basements were going to be flooded. All I can think of is that plasma stuff you told me about. Okay. We'll go with that. Yeah.
That's a great story. So I'm just going to finish up real quick on this note, and then we're going to go to what we actually said we were going to talk about today. Don't you love it? It's like, here, Lynn, let's talk about this today, and then I come in and I'm like completely off in another world. But it's very important. I mean, what we're talking about with intention is actually very, very important. So if you're out there and you've got some sort of, health issue going on, intention is very powerful. Now, Lynn, we've talked about Dan Winter. I know I've talked to you about Dan. Dan's a physicist. Everything he does is 100% science. But when you talk about intention, it all sort of sounds well and good. But when you understand it's actually physics, and intention is actually creating a plasma energy field that's assisting with all these other things happening. It's not just some thought process that it sounds good. There really is science behind exactly what it's doing. And then when you tie in Emoto and you actually see physically what's happening to a water molecule when intention is applied to it, it's a science, and it has to be taken seriously. And it's something, obviously, you know, I talk about health ailments, but for maintaining good health, I mean, obviously, as we started off the conversation, we're being bombarded right now with just a myriad of stuff. And you've got to be able to sort of put that plasma shield around you and maintain and keep in focus that positive vibration, and that positive intention for whatever it is that you're trying to do with your health and your overall, you know, life and goodness. And you know, I do want to just kind of, you know, really drill that in, and it might take 2 or 3 more videos of bringing that up and saying that, because if you're going to go to the effort to use plasma energy water, and you're going to go to the effort to embrace, you know, these various health and wellness technologies that are out there, it's important to get the maximum benefit. So with that being said, is there anything else we want to say with that, or we just move on to the next thing? Is there anything else you want to add? Or
Yeah, I would just say embrace it with whatever you're doing. And this is a good example. Here's my coffee. Well, it was made with my plasma water. Here's my water glass. It has plasma water. So everything I do that requires water has plasma water. If it's in my in the pet watering dishes, it's plasma water. I use it on the plants. So, and then, like I said, I use it around the property. So it's I use it in the laundry. So when I say embrace the water, anything you're going to use water for, you can be using your plasma energy water. Absolutely.
And so, talking about plasma energy water, I got an email from you from the company, from you, and it was about a new plasma energy water that you have just recently come up with, which is Heavenly Thunderbolt. Is that right?
Yes, it's Heavenly Thunderbolt. And we were talking before the call about what had precipitated this, and we both were deeply affected by the interview and the information Dr. Brian Artis came out with several months ago about the venom aspect to many of the injections. I was highly incensed. I guess that's a polite way to put it. Just the fact that anybody would even think that up to do to people. And so I started getting things, okay, what's going to be the next thing that comes out? And, you know, you're hearing things about, well, Ebola, hemorrhagic fever, anthrax, smallpox, monkeypox, you know, a myriad, a Marburg, a myriad of things. And so I went to I just started researching what are things that have been used naturally to mitigate symptoms and things like that for people. And so I ended up putting together a combination. Well, when I do this, it takes several months for it to break down. So it started in April, and this is August, and it's finally ready. And so I was going to call it something like Poison KK Relief, and then I went, no, this is a big deal. So that's where I came up with Heavenly Thunderbolt. And now it's got a lot of combinations in it, and I did a video on it, and I also put it in a blog, which you can find on my homepage, and you're going to show that, you know.
I'll put a link of that also in the description.
Awesome.
Make it easy for people to find, but absolutely.
Yeah, and so I set the price at it at $277, but this happens to be my birthday month, so I just want to have everybody come to the party. So it's $187 for the month of August, and I do ask that people don't try to pile other coupons on it, please. That happens every now and then, but I do like to know if somebody has referred you to the site, because I have a way of taking care of that too. So anyway, that's that's what's going on there. And just a different heads up. There's a lot going on for, especially for small businesses with online ordering. And I recently walked away from those platforms. And so what I did, Sean, is I am giving people a percentage off if they use the postal money order. And then I will take a check. And then I did have someone come in and help me set up a wallet and set up Bitcoin. Now, I'm not well versed in that, but there's a population of people that is, and so there we have it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So a lot of the online ordering now, it's ideal if we do it with check or money order.
Yes, and with the money or both of them, I give you instructions of who to make it out to, where to mail it. But if you send me a picture of the money order, and just a postal money order, please, not a bank or Western Union or anything, send me a picture of it before you mail it, and I'll mail your order right away.
Okay, that's awfully nice. That speeds up the process a lot. Now, I don't know a lot about this, but the other thing that might be possible in the future, maybe is setting it up so you could send it through an ACH. Through the bank, or is that just not worth messing with?
At this point, I just think things are kind of rocky out there in the territory. So
yeah, keep it simple.
I'm going to keep it as simple as I can. And I do apologize for the tune in the background. I didn't shut my phone off, so something singing to us. So there we go. It'll end.
Okay.
So that's just today's method for dealing with orders.
Okay, so to just touch back up on the Heavenly Thunderbolt, now, is that for people that basically got the you know what, for the,
well, you know what, it's also for those that are around those people.
Gotcha.
And keeping that in mind, I added ingredients to it once it was all set that have to do with energy balance, with balancer, which deals with not such great energies around you sometimes. I added energies of peace, be brave, healthy superhuman, dewormer, protection 5 with fine plus, shedding relief, soul support, gold, silver, B9, Korean salt, and there's a bunch more listed. These are some of the last things that I added after I'd written the article, and I had to pencil them in what I'm reading right now. So there's just a lot in here: inflammation relief, clear mind, so anxiety. So, you know, I wanted to make this exactly what I called it, a thunderbolt.
Yeah. And that is really, that's a really good mix. I mean, because a lot of those individual ones, I've got Clear Mind, I've got Superman, you know, I've got some of the individual vials with some of that you've got in there, but that is a very potent mix that you put together for a Heavenly Thunderbolt, and probably very well timed as well to have something like that out there that's very affordable, you know, very affordable, and something that has such a multitude of applications.
Yeah, and Sean, usually when I do a big combination like this, I price them higher than I have, but your point is well taken, and that's exactly why I came up with the pricing that I did.
Mm-hmm. Now, you know, because we follow each other, I follow you, you follow me. I think this is like our 5th video now, maybe, or somewhere around there. But I do get a lot of feedback, and I do get a lot of testimonials from people. But, you know, one of the things that I always build on is number one, multiple layers of technology, right? But I always tell people that I'm always trying to find the technology that has the greatest amount of value for the least amount of money. And so for people that are out there, we're talking right now about Heavenly Thunderbolt. And, you know, like you said initially, on any other given month, it would be, you said 289, 287,
277, and
277, which in itself is a phenomenal deal. But the fact is now in the month of August, because of your birthday, what is it now?
187.
187. That is a huge,
That's a huge discount.
that's a huge discount. And that is that, you know, once again, I'm just going to replay it because sometimes people might be watching these videos for the first time. When you buy that vial of plasma energy water for $187, it's a vial of water that you're going to tape onto a larger supply of water, like a gallon or a 2.5 gallon or a 5 gallon jug. And it's going to transfer the energy from that vial into that water station. And you will never have to buy another vial again. That vial is going to charge and basically convert water with put the plasma energy into water for the rest of your life. So we're talking about a one-time purchase right now at this time for less than $200. That's going to basically have a multitude of benefits, not just drinking the water, which is very important, putting the water in your living environment, spraying it on your bed, putting it on your clothes, putting it on your couch. That is a tremendous value for a very small amount of money, which, in this day and age, obviously money is important. But that's a phenomenal value that you're giving folks out there with that discount. And, I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll watch this video that'll be on there, that'll be ordering that. So, did you something else you want to say there?
Yeah, Sean, the other thing that people can do is once they've set up their water, first time you set it up, do it overnight and give it plenty of time to change the water, and make sure it's a clear plastic or clear glass container. It can be translucent tinted color, but you must be able to see into the container. So it rules out metal, crockery, opaque plastics, opaque glass. But once that is set up, you can give a small container to someone else and they can set up their source. Now, is that a great business model for Lynn? No, but you know, Paul and I knew that when we set
I know. I love that story you see about you and Dr. Paul thinking, is this a great business model? I'm like, I don't know, but we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, to go back to testimonials, you have the one also, which I've talked to some people about, which I'm just going to call it Sir Can, but if you flip it around, it's
yeah,
the other way around, it's whatever. But there was that woman that we did another testimonial on, a fantastic lady. I mean, a lot of these people are just sweet as apple pie. And she had the plasma energy water, and one of her friends had cancer, and was really low on energy, had gone through all the traditional treatments for that, and was really just, beat up basically. And she got some of that, the woman gave her some of the plasma energy water, and she really noticed a big difference. And she was back at the woman's door the next morning to ask for more. And at that time, that's exactly what she did. She did obviously give her more water, but she gave her own little vial of that water, so that woman who was in the recovery phase could then use that little vial of water to charge her own water and have her own supply. And, you see that happen with friends and family. And, certainly for people that are out there that, that have friends and family that are using these types of products, that's an incredibly wonderful benefit that you can pass on to other people who are in need, or, people are out there that are looking to maintain good health.
Yeah, I had someone who was in a counseling position and had done this for 30 years and worked with people who had mental issues, but were recovered enough that they could go into their own housing. And so she was assisting them with that. Well, she started taking them a jug of the plasma energy water from her setup each time she went to visit. And she said, they were starting to ask each other, do you have any more of that water left? And, and I said, okay, now what you need to do is set it up so they can set up their own water. If they're able to get distilled water, they can set up their own thing. And she said, if I've been doing this for 30 years and I've never seen people react to something so positively. And She sent me an email from one woman who said, I have been very, very, very depressed. And, you know, do I go on? Do I stay? That kind of depression. And she said, I have more energy and I am not as depressed, which was just awesome. And again, Sean, this was somebody who already had her setup and she was sharing the water from her setup. So I just want to make that point. It doesn't lose potency when it goes from me to someone else. And that's important for people to realize.
Yeah, and it's actually amazing that once that water is basically infused with that plasma energy, it doesn't leave. So you get these vials, like I said, and they're going to charge water stations for the rest of your life. So when it comes to value and then being able to share and pass it on, I mean, it's absolutely amazing, and it's really a godsend that it's here. And I thank you, along with a lot of other people, for being out there and making this available, and not only doing that, but constantly coming up with new plasma energy versions that, you know, sort of meet with the time and place and circumstance that we're in right now on this planet. So thank you very much for all the hard work that you're doing to make this available to people.
You're welcome. And just a heads up, it'll probably be another 2 or 3 weeks, but maybe not that long. We have 6 different combinations that are going to be applicable for gardens. You know, indoor gardens, outdoor gardens, whatever. And what we wanted to do is get high quality nutrients and then get the plasma energy of them, especially in this situation where we have things kind of unraveling in the whole fertilizer arena.
Right.
Yeah, so that's in the works and coming soon.
Yes, and yeah, that's huge, because I know, from what I know, and I, you know, done a little bit of research or have gotten some information on that, when you start bringing that plasma energy into plant life and agriculture, it definitely enhances the growth of that. And I think we might have talked about this previously, but there's another gentleman, Paul Harris, who basically said that insects, when they're flying over a field, they're looking at the energy field that's being thrown off from those plants. And so the job of the insect is to find plants that have a low energy, and they go in and those are the plants that they eat. Because if the plant's not healthy and it doesn't have a good energy field, the goal, or the use of the insect is to basically eat it, decompose it, and get it to regenerate. So when you're seeing like Paul's point was, when the insects see a positive energy field, a plasma energy field in this case, coming off that, they're not going after those plants. They're actually looking for the unhealthy ones. And so in addition to the benefits of growing it, making the plant healthier, it's also having an effect on repelling insects from wanting to go and basically tear that plant down and start eating it.
Right, and from the protective aspect, I've told this before, but I'll tell it again. There were some farmers in Poland a few years ago that were given somebody's plasma water, and they set it up in one corner of their cornfield, and then they left the rest of the cornfield just the way they always did things. And the night before they harvested their corn, wild pigs came in and ripped everything up. But the wild pigs never went into that corner that had the plasma energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
a great story.
Yeah, it's just an energy field. And it was like, oh, well, I guess we'll leave that corner alone. And oh, you know, nobody stopped the pigs and said, let me give you some instructions here.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a great story. And the thing that's interesting, you know, it was instinctive, like you said. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like, oh, this part is penned off. The pigs instantly, you know, instinctively went to the areas that didn't have that energy field.
Right. And obviously it was healthy corn that was going to be harvested.
Right.
Well, the pigs harvested it all right.
So Lynn, today we're going to do something. I'm going to see if I can pull this off. I'm going to put on my tech wizard hat. But today I wanted to just go through the webpage and go through some of the options that you offer for that plasma energy water. So, you know, people will ask me, well, what different types of plasma energy water is it? And I usually just tell them, you just need to go to the website and find what resonates with you. Because I know for me personally, that's when I first went on there, there's a lot of choices, but you know, whatever it is that resonates with you at the time, and that's what I started with on my first purchase. And then of course, you know, I'm still getting additional ones. So I'm going to try to go to the share screen and see if
Sean, while you're doing that share screen, I'll mention that you and I are not medical professionals, and we simply are giving you information for you to follow up and do your own research on. So it's always good to lightly touch that. And also while you're doing that, I did update a price list that is on the website at somebody's request. Well, I found out I had a lot of penciled in things. So there'll be a PDF that Sean is going to put up that will have all of these things listed. And I think that's, yeah, upside right. So you could also have that as a tool, because as you scroll through things, like Sean says, there's a lot.
There is. So I'm going to have to just pick a screen here and then go to the website. I had the website up, but we had
technical issues.
We had some technical issues getting started today, and I'm just going to go ahead and start with this, and then I'll just go into. Oh, I know why I'm doing. Okay. I'm one of those people that has 60 windows open, and I've got 3 different browsers to run them all on, and each one has a ridiculous amount. So for anybody that's out there, first off, Lynn, you have done a phenomenal job documenting all this information, because we're going to go into 2 pages. I'm going to first just go product price with the videos, just to show them that, and then I'm going to go to the buy the products. But as Lynn was saying earlier, there's a lot of good information. Now, there's a lot of articles down here on the right-hand side that are blog posts that are, a lot of these are timely with things that are going on in current events. Ultimately, you're going to get to buy your products here. But before I go to that, I do want to just go to this drop-down window that comes right below that, that says product price list with videos, because you and Dr. Paul basically have a video. You basically have a video for just about every single product that you sell, for at least the majority of these plasma energy waters. So for people that are out there that say, hey, you know, I have questions on this, or whatever it might be, you have done a phenomenal job assembling a library of content, so that you know, there's a lot of information, a lot of descriptions on all these different types of plasma energy water. Alzheimer Relief, I was talking to people about that this week, and it's very, very informative. And you know, it takes a lot of time to do that, as I well know, and I'm sure a lot of people do. Bladder Relief, I mean, there's just so many things. Clear Mouth, which I've got that one, and cold flu relief, detox relief, but dewormer. But what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, Lynn, if there's anything on this page you want me to point out, I will. But I'm going to go to the other page that lists the products.
Okay, I'm not seeing what you're looking at, so.
Oh God, I hope I did this right.
Yeah, I see you and I on the side of my screen, but we just had a lot of funky stuff going on, so hopefully it's all showing up.
Okay, I hope it is, but
well, here's what people could do. If they go to plasmaenergysolution.com while the video's going, they could split their screen and scroll down as Sean is talking about it, because you just started out on the homepage, didn't you? Or did you?
I did, yeah. I started off
Yeah.
on the homepage, and yes, I am screen sharing. Okay, so it does say I'm screen sharing, even though you can't see it. Theoretically, it is happening. So I'm just going to pretend like everybody can see it, and then I'll get comments down below saying I didn't see anything you said. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but we gave a workaround.
Exactly right. We gave a workaround, and I always put the links on the bottom of the video, so you can always get to them anyway. But basically, there's 2 links. Hopefully, people are seeing it. But buy your products here, and then product price list with videos. So I just did the one with the videos, but the top link is the one that has the products. And actually, you know, Lynn, it's good right now too, because the first thing I'm seeing is the pads, right? And we should probably talk about that.
Okay.
For anybody that's out there international, right?
Yes, it is, but it's also for someone who might want to send some of the plasma energy to someone. They don't have vials, you know, they don't want to ship liquid or whatever. So all you have to do is soak paper towels. You can use a nice high quality paper dinner napkin, and you're going to soak enough that you can get 3/4 of what you've soaked as one of the pads and 1/4 as the other. And that way you have a set of them that you're going to set on either side of a container. And what happens when you do a gradient like that, the greater wants to give to the lesser to balance it, and it balances everything in between. So if you think like the greater sending out an infinity loop to the lesser, and everything in between it also gets the energy.
That's
So
perfect.
that's,
I actually have a friend of mine in Brazil who I'm going to send you an order for, and I'm going to send some plasma energy to her, and she will be getting obviously the pads, but it obviously makes it so much easier to ship it that way. But regardless of whether it comes in the vial or it comes in the pads, it's going to have the same effect.
exactly.
And like you said with the pads, I like that though. You can, you know, put the pads on either side of the container and sort of use them in that way as well. Which actually, as long as we're talking about the pads, here we go again. I've got everything scripted what I want to talk about, and here I go off sideways again. The pads are really good, a very good way to apply plasma energy to a very specific part of the body. So we've done many stories. We've talked about this before, but because I'm dealing with people with shoulder pain, knee pain, swelling, inflammation, joint pain, wrist, whatever it might be, one of the things you can also do with this plasma energy water is soak it on a Band-Aid, put the Band-Aid on, you know, soak it like with what Lynn's saying here with something as simple as a paper towel, and figure out a way to do that. You could probably just put the paper towel on your wrist, and then just use like a sprained wrist, like a piece of gauze, and just wrap it around and hold that in place. But there's,
you know, you could even take a bandana or a silk scarf and wrap it around your wrist after you had put the plasma energy water on it and let it dry.
yeah.
That energy is going to stay in that, and so you can just wrap it around there.
Yeah, and a bandana is going to look way better than what I just described of trying to put something on there that would just be crazy. But the point is that plasma energy water, whether it's put on a paper towel or it's put on a bandana, whatever it is, you can basically really focus that energy in a very specific part of the body. So, you know, for anybody that's out there watching the video, like we were saying earlier, there's just so many applications to using this plasma energy, but that's another one there. So,
well, Sean, if they take 3 Band-Aids that they've soaked the gauze in, if they'll put 2, let's say I'm going to do a wrist, I would put 2 on this side and 1 on this side, or vice versa. And so again, the energy is going to travel through to balance the greater to the lesser.
got it.
And so that's a really easy thing to do. You just put them on there. Dr. Paul used to do that on his knee. He had a crooked knee from, you know, when he was born. And he just got the Band-Aids and he just wear them till they fall off and put another one on. So, you know, he wore them at night, wore them when he showered, and when the glue wore it out on the Band-Aid, new ones got put on.
Yeah.
So
I really like that tip though. That's a really good tip on, number one, getting it on both sides of the area. So if it's a bad shoulder, you're putting it on the front and the back, but putting
Right.
two on the front, one on the back to basically connect the energy with that sore thing, that sore section of the body being in the middle. That's actually a phenomenal tip.
Yeah, and my brother was having a terrible time. He had a sore shoulder, and I was trying to walk him through everything to do, and it was finally like, oh, let's just do these Band-Aids.
Yeah.
You can put two on the front, and you can reach back and slap one on the back. You know, so.
Exactly. Okay, so back to our regularly scheduled program here, which was going through to show all the varieties. But you know, I'm just talking about stuff as I see it on there, because it does bring up some other points. And you know, there's a lot of people that have been following you for quite some time, and you know, some of this stuff is stuff we've covered in previous videos, but for the sake of people seeing this for the first time, and there's a lot of video content that Lynn has and that we've done together that also go into a lot more detail on some of these other things. Now, Lynn, I'm going to actually describe what's going on right now, because we just passed the postal money order, which we talked about earlier. So that's where we are on the page right now. So now we're basically starting off with some of the plasma energy options, and there's a lot of them, and I'll kind of go through them. I'll bounce some of these off of you, but I'm obviously alphabetically, I'm starting with Alzheimer's Relief, Anxiety Relief, Ancient Sacred Plant Inflammation Relief. And if there's anything you want to talk about with any of these that I'm bringing up, just let me know, and we can focus on any of these that that you might have some feedback that you want to share.
One of the things we do show, Sean, and you can apply it to any of the energies that you're trying to really focus in on. And Dr. Paul drew a thing on a breathing apparatus. And what you would do is you would take, now this is an empty mason jar right now, okay? And you would take aquarium-sized tubing, and you would probably, he said to get 7 or 8 feet, but it was a big mason jar, and coil it all up in here and leave both ends hanging out. And then what you do is you take that water, maybe it's Clear Mind, whatever it is, the anxiety, Alzheimer's Relief, and you're going to pour the water over the tubing, not in the tubing. And then what you're going to do is the end of the tubing that's hanging out, you're going to breathe in, okay? And that's just a way of getting a really concentrated energy, the energy fields, in a different manner than drinking, okay? So your other side of your tube was hanging out over here on this side, and then this is the side you're breathing out of, and you're never drinking any water. It's just there to energize all the tubing. So the air that passes through the tubing receives the plasma energy, and then it goes into, instead of going into your digestive tract, it's going in as you're breathing in, you know, down your throat into your lungs and so forth. So it's just another delivery mechanism that we have.
Right. That's actually another great tip right there. As another way you can use the plasma energy water. Arthritis Relief, Autism Relief, Bath and Hot Tub, Be Brave. Now, this is one from our last video that I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from, and that was the Beekeeper package. Our previous video, we talked about that, and you were giving out some examples of the beetles and how, well, a lot of different examples on how this assists bees with being healthier and sort of protecting them. But that story about, you know, how this, in putting this, in using this around the beehives was basically helping them or preventing the beetles from really coming in and doing damage to the beehives.
Exactly. And that was all set up with somebody that did lose a big beehive to a predatory beetle. There are beetles and mites that are issues for beekeepers. And so once he got all the plasma energy, and we also added the new tech frequency relief to it, because the electronic soup that we all live in is affecting people, pets, plants, insects, birds. So, you know, you have to look at the big picture here and say, it's going to have the same effect on our animals and insects and birds as it's having on us. So when you can help relieve that, that was the reason for adding that. And the shungite is very effective for dealing with that also.
The shungite, exactly. And I did get some emails from some people that thanked us for having that on there. And I know that they had spoke to you or had ordered some of these. Dewormer, calcium oxide, carbon dioxide, carbon hydrogen.
Yeah, I want to mention those because those are separate ingredients. The CO2, the CuO2, the zinc, the calcium, the CH3, those can be put together as first aid vials. And then there's a sheet that we have, and it's kind of like in an emergency situation where you could do different combinations of those waters to address different things that's just happened right in front of you.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's good to know. Now I bought, not for me because I don't have any cats right now, but I have bought the cat formula for two friends of mine that have cats. And I love those little creatures. They're so wonderful. But cat food plasma energy water and cat super cat plus. So with the cat food energy water, would you spray that on their food?
You know what? I put the vial right in my cat's water dish.
Perfect.
They've got several vials in their water dish, and and they've got several. They hijacked a couple fountains that I had, so those are their water dishes now, along with their water dish. But I just went, oh, I'll just put vials in all of them, and then I don't have to keep track of.
That's right.
What dish they're drinking out of.
Yeah, which we had a colorful conversation before we started that you put me on notice to know that the cat might need to get fed, because there is a certain time where it's time to be fed. And you know, if this video should get into the cat's time, that we'll just have to take a convenient break to make sure that those little people are all taken care of and happy. And trust me, I know how they work. And it's not that the cats are well trained, it's that the people that own them are. And right. So yeah, we know who's the king of the household there. So if they do happen to step in for a guest appearance, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I just, if you see the black hand, it's the one who's trying to herd me back. And so far, she's just made it as far up as my knee.
We might get a cameo appearance from her.
But yeah, she's circling.
Awesome. Clear Mind, which I've got, cold relief, copper oxide, DNA support. Is there anything you want to say about that DNA support? That looks like a pretty
yes,
cool.
You know, when all the information started coming, something happening with DNA, with some of this experimental stuff going on, I thought, you know what, I want an original of where I am now, in case something changes, you know, that I'm affected by people around me or something. And so what I did is, DNA support can be used by, say, a whole family, but what you do is you set up your main jar of it. You can put a vial, maybe your own saliva, okay? And for those that understand urine therapy, they might put a vial in of urine, and just the vial is just unopened, but it sits in your jar that would say Lynn's DNA support. And Paul, he would have a jar that would say Paul's DNA support. And so you'd have separate jars for separate family members, and it'd be kind of your blueprint your go back to blueprint,
Gotcha.
if that makes sense.
That
Yeah.
does make perfect sense. Detox Relief, diabetes packages. Now there's multiple diabetes packages, and
and those were set up so mainly if people already had the plasma energy station, there was one set of pricing. And then if they had wanted to get the whole thing with the extra vials that would support their situation, that had a certain pricing. And then there were also some, Dr. Paul was going to do a whole video series as a digital product on diabetes from the perspective of somebody who had dealt with it for 34 years.
Right.
And that never did get finished. But what I did is I took some of his lead-in videos because they had some good information on them and bundled them together with some other videos that we did addressing diabetes. And so that's a digital product that people can also get.
That's awesome. Well, you can't bring up cats and not bring up dogs. So we have now hit dog food, plasma energy water, dog super dog plus. Those obviously for your pets, which honestly are like your family members, probably, you know, somebody we want to look out for, because I mean, quite honestly, the quality of food that they're putting in a lot of the stuff that these poor animals are eating is just absolutely atrocious. And that's, you know, anything you can do to, you know, make the pets' lives a little better is certainly something that's always going to be good. Dream Big, Paul's Dream Big, and Dream Big Plus, Dream Catcher, and Dr. Paul's last private video.
Yeah, and that was just a group of energies I put together because in looking back, he wasn't afraid to dream big.
Right.
And there were times a more conservative wife might have said, could you scale the dreaming big back a little? But you know, it's our lives are what they are, and so he always felt everybody had their own free will, and I pretty much went along with that most of the time.
So I've got Dr. Paul's Dream Big Plus. Let's see, Dream Catcher by artist Joyce.
Right. That was just a little gift I included if people wanted a dream catcher with their dream big.
Gotcha. And then we've got the Eczema Relief, Energy Balance, the eye formula. We talked about some stuff with the eyes on a previous video. I did get some good feedback from that video as well. And one of the things that you mentioned on that for various different eye conditions was mixing the plasma energy water with just a little bit of olive oil, so that when you're using it as an eye droplet and putting it in the eyes, it's not going to just flush it right out. It's gonna stay there for a little bit more time. But is there anything?
Yeah, Sean, what you actually do is maybe a jar about this big, like I used a glass. You can use a glass ice jar, or this is about the size of a travel plastic vial you'd put lotion in. Well, I fill it 2/3 with the eye formula water, 1/3 with the oil. And I will mention you can use any good organic oil. You have to watch the olive oils because some have a pepper note. And I'm getting feedback from people, man, this really stings my eyes. And I'm going, it doesn't sting my eyes. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but you shake it up and then leave it for about 10 minutes. And then you come back and you pull with your eyedropper, you pull the oil off. The oil will stay on the eye longer than just water that you'll just kind of tear out right away, where the oil will kind of slide up and down the eye longer than the water would. Yeah. And so that's what the reasoning is behind having the oil in there.
First aid vials with the pads. So you've got these first aid kits with the plasma energy station water. and first aid vials or pads without the plasma energy station water. What's the difference between the ones with the energy station and the ones without?
Pricing.
Okay, perfect. I love it.
You know, do you want this package or do you want this package along with this?
Gotcha.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Glutathione.
Glutathione. We did that as a separate energy, and glutathione is very effective in supporting your body. And so we felt that it was pretty important to, you could offer it as a single thing, or it's one of those things that's a good addition to other formulas, which in fact it is part of Heavenly Thunder.
Perfect. Hand sanitizer, headache relief, healthy bladder, healthy brain, healthy collagen, healthy genes, healthy gut with celery. God, a lot of stuff going on with celery. I mean, that's a whole nother subject, but
Right.
way, 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 way more powerful and way more beneficial than probably 99% of the planet really understands. And I'm not going to get too far into that because that is its own subject, but there is a type of salt that's within celery that's able to break the blood-brain barrier, and it's actually able to detox the brain from heavy metal buildup. And heavy metal buildup theoretically is what some people are saying has to do as a possible root cause of MS, ALS, different types of conditions, is basically toxic heavy metal buildup in the brain. And there's something in the celery, there's a whole book on it, but that basically that celery is one of the few things that can break into that blood-brain barrier and assist with detoxing that with heavy metals. Healthy heart, healthy joint plus, healthy
Sean,
kidney.
I want to say something about healthy gut real quick.
Yes.
The celery, because when we went to do that formula and Dr. Paul went and got some organic celery, and he's going, you know, if people are doing this every day, this is costly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was just, we felt that with the healthy gut, the celery was really an important component.
It is. Yeah, it is. And the other part of it, because I have friends of mine that are huge on this, they're actually the people that turned me on to it. But you're talking about a lot of trips to, you know, to the store. You're talking about a lot of running around. And then if you're doing it yourself, I mean, there's just no way I could do it myself with the amount of cleaning stuff up and just doing all that. It's beyond me personally being able to handle it. But something like the healthy gut with celery and just, you know, getting that energy and getting that into the water and just drinking the water, that's definitely something that I could easily do. Healthy heart, healthy joints plus, healthy kidney, healthy man, healthy pancreas, healthy senior, healthy superhuman, healthy woman. Now, I love that icon, Heavenly Thunderbolt. Boom. I love that. It really helps it stand out. Herpes Relief, Hunger Helper, Insomnia Formula. Then we have the Cancer Plus, Cancer Support, Life Force, Lung Support. You know, like some of these, Lynn, you know, $77, $97, Mosquito Repellent, $17, $57, the Cancer Plus $327, but it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I mean, this is just such, these products are very moderately priced. They're very low priced. They're very affordable. Nano coating and GANs making process.
And Dr. Paul, that's a digital product, by the way. And,
digital product. Yeah, it says that on there.
And Dr. Paul really emphasized the nano coating is probably one of the most important steps at starting the whole process of doing some of the GANs. And so he goes into the detail on that.
New tech frequency relief, pain relief, Pain relief obviously would go to maybe something we were talking about earlier, where if you got, you would put the Band-Aids, get the pain relief, get it on the Band-Aids, that kind of thing. This is the one I just bought, which was Parasite Cleanse. I actually think I got 3 or 4 of them, but 1 or 2 of them I gave away, and then 1 or 2 of them I said, well, I want to make a batch of this and then I'll give you a vial because I kind of want some of this too. But that's going to be another subject later we can go back into and talk a little bit about, because I think, like I was saying initially, starting off this call, putting a focus on water and putting a focus on parasite removal, I think in the future is going to be stuff that we're going to be talking about and learning more about. Then we get to peace. And then we get to one of my favorite products here, which is, we've talked about this. We actually did a pretty good job with Stephanie on our last call, talking about the pendants and some of the benefits of those.
Exactly. And I would say you're adding to the energy field that you have around you. These are specifically to help with the torsion field, that negative electrical energies will change your body beneficial energies, which the torsion fields are to the right. And the Russian and Japanese research showed that silver, shungite, and magnet combinations would turn those non-beneficial energy fields going to the left over to the right to in sync with your beneficial energy fields. So that's the benefit to all the shungite pendants, that you have that presence on your body all the time.
I mean, I swear by them. I mean, this thing never comes off.
Yeah.
Although there are times when I'm out in the sun that I do put it out to charge the gemstones. So
that's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that up, because I had someone else who said it's a good idea every now and then just to take them off and let them connect with the earth, or you say, connect with, charge with the sun.
Yeah, I'll put them in the sunlight for a couple hours. I was really big into crystals and gemstones when I was a little younger, but I know that's definitely good for charging them. And then we've got the pendant shungite, pendant soul support with the turquoise, pendant soul support, just various combinations. Then we get into the lapis. Well, we got the shungite with the amazonite. And I know, like I said, because I did sort of get kind of into this at a point in my life where I really dug deep. I know lapis was actually one of the main stones that was used by the Egyptians, and they were using that a lot for intuition and for I don't want to say astral projection so much, but we would just basically say in this day and age they were using it for working with your plasma energy field, because when you get into that type of subject matter, you're talking about astral projection, you're talking about lucid dreaming, and you're talking about, in some cases, they would say remote viewing, but also just basic intuition as well. And then we've got the amazonite. Just these pendants are really, very affordable. And now on these, and I haven't really done the promotional thing on the additional discounts, which does not apply to the Thunderbolt, by the way. Thunderbolt is not included in this, but if you use the discount code USA MedBed at checkout for these other pendants and these other plasma energy waters, you do get an additional 15% discount. So whatever the pricing is that you see here, if you use that at your checkout, you do get an additional 15% off.
And I want to mention there, Sean, if people are taking, like, for instance, if they ordered something that's got a heavy discount on it, like the Heavenly Thunderbolt, please do put in your comments, though, if you heard about this through Sean, and let me know. I would like to know that, because they're not using your USA MedBed coupon.
Right.
Yeah. And let me clarify, they're not using it on the special of the month. you know, what I might have, like Heavenly Thunderbolt.
Exactly.
And this month, the Plasma Energy Station is also on a special. But like you say, with all the single vials and the pendants, even the digital products, use that USA MedBed.
Yeah. And yeah, just so affordable. And that's why I think I've got 6 of these vials now. In fact, I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting new containers. You know, like as I've had this longer, I'm figuring out more efficient ways to use it and combine them. And, you know, I'm kind of like a little kid in a candy store going, okay, well, these 2 are going to go on this container, and then I'm going to put these on this container. And then, of course, you know, I don't do things in a traditional method, but the key thing that I've found for me to make it easy is to get a, what is that thing you pour it in and it condenses it down up?
You mean like a water filter or?
Not a filter, but you know, like if you were going to take a big surface and
a funnel.
Yeah. So that and those spray bottles, which you can get off of Amazon, but I find for me to, because I'm using these like 1 and 2 gallon, 2.5 gallon jugs, and if I just put a funnel at the top, then it's easy for me to refill those without having to pick them up and physically move them around.
Good point. Good point.
So funnels and spray bottles. All right. So Petitch odor relief. It's so funny because
pet skin and odor relief.
What's that?
It's pet skin and odor
pet
relief.
Skin. Got it. Okay. Pine Plus support, which obviously goes back to some of the other subject matter we were talking about, but it's interesting because pine has so many positive qualities. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing at what pine can do, and it's just a very, very powerful substance. And Pine Plus obviously is one that I'm probably going to have to get on my list here soon. Plants, indoor and outdoor, never-ending plasma energy, plasma energy station, basic preparedness, positive energy support. And then we get into the preparedness, the different packages for basically packages for, I mean, you can go through each one of these if you're out there watching the video, and you'll get all these, but these are basically something that would cover you, you know, if things ever went sideways, I guess is probably a good way of putting it.
Yeah, and on the packages, what I did is I bundled things together and put them at a discount for people. So you can get one size of package. The plasma energy station is the basic preparedness package. Then the medium has 8 vials priced under $97. But I get the question a lot, well, what if I want one of the vials to be something that's more than that? Then I just say count it as 2 vials, 2 of your 8. And so there's the medium, then there's a large with 12 vials with or without the plasma energy station. There's 2 prices. And then there's the plasma energy pantry that they can select 25 with or without the plasma energy station. So those are different bundles I put together.
Perfect. Shedding Relief, Protection 5 with Pine Plus. We've got some of these shungite magnet sole support for your phones and for protecting against EMF. I don't know if you saw that interview I did about a week ago with Dr. Mike Van Thielen, but he did a book on EMR, which stands for electromagnetic radiation, the hidden threat. And man, when you really get a grip on what the effects of EMF is, it's like you definitely want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to protect yourself from that. Soul support, stress and depression relief, super immune support with Pine Plus support. And then we have Superman Plus, which is one that I got. That was actually one that I got on my first order, which I absolutely love. Super Sleep, Superwoman Plus, thyroid support, tinnitus relief, toothache relief, UT Badge Relief for women, Virus Relief, Winter Support Package, Winter Wellness, and last but not least, Zinc Oxide. So we finally got through the list. I'm really happy I got a chance to do this today because, you know, when you've got that many options, we all have different things going on within our body. We all have different budgets. We all have different things going on. And some things like really resonate with me now that might not have resonated with me, you know, 3 or 4 months ago when I first started buying the plasma energy water. So when people ask me which one should I get, that's why I always just say, just come on the page and just go through and just find what resonates with you in that time, place, circumstance that you're in. And as time goes on, you know, those things might change, but just to get some core basic plasma energy water into your, you know, into your daily routine is the goal. And I think, you know, if there's one thing that we've done in this video, we've clearly established that it's very affordable, that it has a lot of benefit, and that you know, there's pretty much something for everybody. It's not always, like I always tell people, Lynn, it's not about obviously it's always things that you want to mitigate, reduce, or you know, turn around. But for me personally, it's really about maintaining good health and living a healthier life that's more vibrant and you know, more energy. So maintaining good health, I think, really is important, if not more important, than trying to, you know, turn stuff around that's gone sideways.
Exactly. You know, let's try and get ahead of the whole thing, and as you say, maintain it to where your life isn't unraveling.
Right. Now I am going to stop screen share because I feel like well, actually, while we're on the site, let's just navigate through. Like I said, now off here on the right-hand side are the more information on the kits, but Lynn has done a great job piecing together various interviews, information that people should know about as far as what's going on the planet right now, things that, you know, you might want to know about that you're being exposed to, and ways to mitigate, you know, all the different environmental conditions that are put in front of us. And so there's really a lot of information that's on here. So frequently asked questions, they're just, if you really want to dig in and do the research, you can really do that on this website, because there's just so much data and so much information on here. So with that being said, buy your products, and then if you want to go on and say, I'm really interested in this particular item, then you can go on this drop down window and you can find the video to get that video explanation on that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop share.
And I will say, on the blogs that you see on the right, I've been doing blogs weekly most of the time for several years. So there's a lot of them, but they're just there as one long page. Mm-hmm. So you have to go from title to title to title and pick and choose what you want to read. Yeah. And Sean, while you're doing that, there's some free reports, and if people will just use their first name and their email address, that's what unlocks the free reports.
Got it.
And you have to do it each time for each report.
Yep, and then you get put on a mailing list also, so that when there's updates and things going on, because now for me, like before you told me today about the Thunderbolt, I had gotten the newsletter that came out, and I already got the information on that. I thought that was really cool. So that was one of the first things I wanted to talk to you about today when we got on the call. Actually, before we got officially on this call, but when we started talking before we went through our fun of getting the call started today. So so Lynn, I'm gonna go ahead and just throw it back to you. If there's anything else you want to finish up with today on ending this video. I think we did a really good job talking about, you know, your intention with water. This is obviously a water-based product, and you know, all the varieties of this plasma energy water, and you know, anything else that you want to add before we sign off.
you know, I just want to thank you, Sean, for taking the time to do this, and especially taking the time to go through the website and explain things to people. I really appreciate that. And as I always end a lot of my videos, I tell people smiles are free. You can give those away really easily. And when you live around people you say you love, look them in the eye, tell them you love them, and mean it. Dr. Paul and I did that for 54 years, and we could still say it and mean it at the end of 54 years.
That is amazing. And that's definitely something that's much needed in this world right now. And,
Right.
you know, nothing is going to turn around any frequency that you've got that might not be jiving with your body, but a big smile and telling people you love them and you care about them is really, really, you know, that's where the whole thing ends. And the sooner you get to a place in your life where you can do that, you know, the better your life is going to be, because ultimately, you know, we're all very loving people spiritually. That's where we come from, as a plane of love, and we're all trying to evolve back there. Everybody's in a different place in their time, place, circumstance, and that evolution. And even the people out there that, you know, that you might not agree with, that are not seeing things the same way you do have to understand it karmically. That's just the place that they're at, and that, you know, there will be a time, place, and circumstance where maybe we can all get on that level. But, you know, being understanding and loving them for who they are and being able to share that with them is still, you know, that's really the true merit of character, and really understanding who we are as spiritual individuals.
Exactly. So if you look at the spirituality path of things, it's a good thing we're not on a circular track, all of us as the human race. Instead, I think if you think of it, we're all at the start line of the Oklahoma land rush, and it just depends on how fast some of us get to where we're going.
That's right. That's right. And understanding that, and accepting and loving people for who they are and where they are in their lives, you know, ultimately, you know, there's no reason to be arguing or fighting with people, or even being upset because they might not see the things the same way you do. It's just the nature of how it is. Some people got right to the gold mine, Lynn, and some people are still, you know, they're still panning for gold and haven't found anything. But, you know, that's just
Right.
the nature of life, right?
Right. Oh, well, thank you again, Sean. I appreciate
Yes.
it. And it's plasmaenergysolution.com.
Plasmaenergysolution.com. I'll have all the links at the bottom of the video. Lynn, one thing also to finish up on is that you're always really good at following up with people that have questions. So if you get on the website and you have a question about something, you know, first off, there's a lot of resources there. So if you don't have to email Lynn, you know, try to find it on your own. But one thing I do get a lot of feedback on, Lynn, is that you're really good about following up with people and answering questions. So, you know, when it comes to taking care of them and kind of helping them find their way, thank you so much for the one-on-one attention that you give a lot of the people that go onto that website as well.
All right. Well, thank you, Sean.
All right, Lynn, take care. Until we meet again, have a great evening. Say hi to the cat. It's almost feeding time. And do me a favor and say hi to Stephanie for me too.
I will do that. She wasn't able to be here. So thank you, Sean.
All right, take care. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.